Playing efficiently with the pieces in the simplest positions, those with the fewest pieces on the board, is the best practice for playing without wasted movement in more complicated positions. Every elementary school chess student knows this sluggish checkmating pattern. And by walking the black king toward the edge of the corner one step at a time, white will eventually deliver a checkmate on move 15. The black king stayed alive for 14 moves while being prodded into the corner like a cow. Kindergarten chess teachers teach this dumb method because it's simplest, employing one piece at a time. First, the queen pushes the king to the side, then the white king closes in, and only at the very end do the king and queen cooperate. It's more economical and elegant to use the king and queen in concert from the start, first moving the queen behind the black king so that the black king is surrounded. By keeping the black king encircled by white pieces, black always has to move toward one deadly white piece or the other. This is a much better way to go. First, the black king is surrounded by the white pieces along the ranks. And after king f2, surrounded on the files. 3 king f3 keeps the black king encircled. King f4 performs the same job we've seen before, where the queen takes away the rank behind the king and one square to his side, leaving him with just one choice. White saved 7 moves with this surrounding method. 7 moves here and 7 moves there adds up to more time to spend playing in the sun. Paul Morphy played this game at rook odds against an unnamed amateur from the New York Chess Club in 1855. When white starts the game without the queen rook, the white queen rook pawn starts at a3, because when the rook is gone, the a2 pawn would be unguarded. White started with e4 because he knew the most important things to do at the start of the game of chess are to control the center and get the pieces out. And nothing's better for controlling the center and getting the pieces out than sticking a pawn in the middle. Black did the same. White developed with a threat. Now black ought to make some kind of equal threat. Knight c6 is purely a defensive move and should be saved for when one is a master class player. Knight f6 might be a bit too late to develop with this threat, because now that white's got his bishop on c4, white can answer knight f6 with a bigger threat of his own. d5 is the most common move, but every chess player ought to spend some time experimenting with the sacrificial line bishop c5. After white captures on d5, black has a number of enterprising moves. Knight d4 followed by b5 is an aggressive way for black to play. An immediate b5 is even more aggressive for making a threat immediately. The most typical move is the attack knight a5. But Morphy liked to play d3 here. This was Morphy's move. Whether white plays bishop b5 or d3, the knight on a5 is offside, and in case he were to play knight c4 here, now white's got a guard for his extra pawn on d5. But our amateur playing black here made a common mistake when he played knight d5, which reopens this diagonal for the white bishop. So since the bishop is working hard on this diagonal, this knight sacrifice creates a pin on the d5 knight, and then queen f3 develops with a double threat. The only way to save the knight on e6 is to play king e6. Knight c3 continues bringing up more force to bear on the pinned piece. Here's a quirky aspect of this game being played at rook odds. If this pawn were back on a2, black's best shot in this position is probably knight b4. Knight d4 doesn't make a big enough threat. Black is threatening to capture the queen on f3, threatening to capture the pawn on c2, but white's threat makes a check, and black won't have the time to carry out either of his threats. Now, if black were to play king e7 here, white's going to checkmate with queen e7 plus knight e4. So black instead played king d6, and this is the reason I include this game to show the value of that surrounding method of checkmating with king and queen. When white plays queen f7 in this position, he surrounds the black king again, just like we saw in the king and queen mate patterns. And by cutting off the black king from behind, white is again threatening knight e4 mate. Black thought to break the connection between white bishop and queen, so there are two minor pieces guarding the black king, and white simply got rid of them, capturing one, and then the knight check drives the king forward, the pawn check drives the black king further away, and there goes the last of the black king's defenders. So the poor black king is all alone out here, and black sent the queen to help, but white finished this game in almost comical but instructive fashion. Queen g4 forces one reply. Queen e2 forces another. After the discovered check, the black king will be forced to the back rank, where he'll probably die. And this game wouldn't be nearly as interesting unless black captured on c1, which enables white to castle and deliver mate. Saving a move here and a move there adds up. I'm just trying to save you some time.